didn't pay for them. And my question is, if raising taxes is not a solution, then what is the solution?
Spending less. There is no reason right now we are spending close to 25% of our GDP for the federal government alone. Under President Bush, it never went above 20%. So we're spending a lot more. What do we got for it? Well, why can't we go back to what we were spending during the last year of President Bush?
Well, I don't think anybody in Washington is even entertaining the idea of cutting government. Let me just give you one quick example. You may have seen in the news a couple of months ago, Amtrak wants $117 billion from Congress over the next 30 years so they can modernize. And my answer to that is modernizing Amtrak is like installing a chandelier in an outhouse. I think it's an outrage that the government is spending any money at all on this 200-year-old functioning
you're completely correct, and President Obama wants to spend $53 billion more on high-speed rail. By the way, what just happened in China is with their bullet train, where the Chinese government is lying incredibly about it, and there were people who died, and they had this terrible crash. The idea that this is the technology of the future is sick. And it's distorted. And frankly, show me one place in the world, including China, where these very expensive new trains actually are worth the money. I mean, maybe they function technologically, but why is it worth the money? There are easier ways to get people from point A to point B. Let's go to Neville in Fort Worth, Texas. Neville, you're on the Michael Medved Show.
Great show, Mike. See, I think another 4 years of Barack Obama would ruin this country, and one thing we can do with the help of your listeners is create a list of things that are still going to be funded after all this mess is over with, like the defense of Europe, NATO, the United Nations, Acorn. Come on. Is that what we're borrowing money for, to continue that stuff?
Well, it's not so much Acorn. I think you may be thinking of Planned Parenthood. That's what we spend a lot of money on. We spend more on Planned Parenthood every year than the so-called tax break for corporate jets costs us. And you're right. It should be easy. Anybody could sit down for a couple of hours with a list of government programs and find a bunch of them that wouldn't be missed. And one of the good things about this debt deal is they're going to be forced to do that. This committee is going to be forced to do that. They have to find very substantial cuts by the end of the year. They're going to have to find some very substantial cuts right away. And well, you got to thank the Tea Party for that, and you've got to thank the people who came to Washington to push this Congress in a better direction. Let's go quickly to Dan in Chicago. Dan, you're on the Medved Show.
Yeah, hi, Michael. My main question was, as a self-employed guy, my marginal rate is much higher than talk show hosts and other people that make more than $1 million a year. I make about 110 grand a year, and all my buddies is about the same. And between social and our federal taxes, we're in about the 35-39% bracket, whereas guys that make over $1 million, obviously they're in a higher tax bracket, but they pay maybe 0.5% in social. So what comes out of my...
Yeah, but wait. Okay, go on. Yeah, you first of all, the problem here is not the guys over $1 million. First of all, you assume that I wish it were true that everyone who talks...
I wasn't talking about you.
Okay, I appreciate it, but fine. You're not. But the point about this is that in terms of the tax rate that you pay, you're making the point that because Social Security taxes are capped at $106,000 right now.
Right, and I'm self-employed, so I pay 15%.
Yeah, so am I, and so do I.
Okay.
And
all right.
And you're right. I mean, I think that one of the areas that is toughest to explain to people is the capping of Social Security taxes. Like, why is it that if you earn...
It's not hard for me to understand. What's hard for me to understand is that my marginal rate is higher than Rush Limbaugh's, which it is.
Okay, I understand that, but that's because of the Social Security. And the reason that Social Security thing is built in is because Social Security was sold to the American people as a pension program. In other words, if you were willing to allow very wealthy people have more taken out for Social Security, but they get more back in Social Security, they get higher payments later on, all the way up, then you're not really saving anything, are you? The truth of the matter is we've got to eliminate this fiction that Social Security is a pension program. It's not. Never has been. There's no trust fund. The whole thing has to be restructured. How? Give you a hint coming up.
Michael, you know what? You make a lot of sense.
The Michael Medved Show.
You're listening to 1380 KTKZ.